Right, I'm going to try and fit in a game of 10-minute rapid chess. So obviously it could be up to 20 minutes long. By 2004, good luck. Okay, goes with b3. How do I want to deal with that? Let's just develop. Okay, only 35 games for my opponent, so it could be underrated here. My takes, obviously I'm not pre-moving anything. Okay. I haven't played g6, you might as well put the bishop on the diagonal. It's whether I push here. Do I do this and challenge that? I've got knight up. Got pawn up. I think I'm going to go c6. Why on earth is he playing so fast? Let's just go up one for now. It's a 10-minute rapid game. You don't need to play that quickly. Actually, I'm going to delay bring the knight out to move the bishop. Yeah, he's brought the knight up, so I can now develop the bishop and then bring the knight up behind. And eventually I want to push the pawn and maybe even this one. So do we trade? Do we drop back? I think I'm going to drop back. Just see if he pushes more pawns forward, maybe queen across. Or maybe just bring the knight across. Ooh, my mouse cable a little stuck there. Should be alright, hopefully. Just clear them arrows, get the cursor off the board. Comes forward. Logical. So I'm going to play queen across just to charge the pawn, should my opponent castle, for instance. An idea to bring the knight across the board. I could potentially go this way, I suppose, but maybe it just encourages a3 and then there's not much for the knight to do here. Feels like it's a bit misplaced. Okay, comes forward. So I'm just going to drop back one, see if it encourages another pawn push, and then I can always drop back another one. Or obviously I could maybe take. Okay, knight comes forward. I could maybe undouble my pawn here. That's interesting. If I bring knight here, my bishop might get trapped though. So I'm going to go here. I can take back obviously 3 different ways. So how would I want to do it? Probably the queen, but it would be tempting to take with a pawn and maybe try and build a nice strong center. Actually, yeah, that's probably logical, that. I don't want to completely clog it down. Do I go with a queen and leave this pawn structure, then I can play here? Actually, I'm going to do that. I'm going to try and challenge these pawns, especially if he goes kingside, and he has. So I'm going to push that pawn straight away. And maybe centralize the other rook. This knight, a little bit misplaced on the rim there. Comes forward. Okay. So there is a knight hanging, but so is my queen. So if I go back here, you take, I take, you take here, and that's no good. I think I'll just drop back one, or if I drop back, you take. Yeah, I'm going to go here. If you take, I'll take the knight and I'll hang the pawn. Otherwise, I may be threatening c4 and just leave this pawn structure intact. If the knight moves as a rook, so you're probably just going to play rook across. Then, oh, he's gone for it. He's gone for the gamble. Okay, am I missing something just collecting the knight? If you take, I'll just step across, I think. I'm going to take it. I think I can just step across and then a move like knight up. Bishop back. Okay, and get the cursor off the board so there's no accidental slips. Yeah, he's played rook across. Now I could actually play a potential nuisance move here to drive the rook off the back rank. And then I can come back. It's whether I want the rook here or here or here. Does it really make any difference? I'm not sure it does actually. It might do, but I'm not sure if it does. So I'm just going to drop back and then rook across. And hopefully play knight up and then collect the pawn. I could take and give up an exchange. And then we'll have a bishop and a knight against a rook, but we'll get rid of the dangerous pawn. Again, get the cursor off the board so there's no accidental slips. Takes the pawn there. Okay, I think I'm going to ignore that. So I'm going to play knight there and go for this one. If you take, I'll probably go with the H pawn. Generally take in towards the centre. If I take with the F pawn, it's opening up my king's defences. Although if you get the bishop in the middle, then the queen coming in to hit the pawn is a threat due to a pin. But see, I want to try and deal with this really dangerous pawn first if I can. But if the bishop gets planted here, a move like queen up and then there's a threat to this pawn. Just got to be aware of the concepts and hope you can deal with them. Comes down to hit the rook. Okay. I think I should come across and get behind my pawn there. Still trying to collect this one. Obviously, I could have gone here as well. Well, can I just collect that still? I think I can, so I'm going to. If takes, I'll probably just go with the queen. I don't think we'll take. I think the bishop will go back here. But this is where the queen here would be dangerous, threatening to win a pawn. But if I can get knight back here, then knight to e6, that feels sensible. Feels like it is. Doesn't mean it is, but feels like it is. But I see nothing better now. Just shift the knight. I've got a nice square here to come. Bishop's got a nice square potentially here. Obviously, might encourage the pawns forward. There's a queen check. Depends what my opponent does here. Again, cursor off the board so there's no accidental slips. So we've got a knight, but we are 2 pawns down for it. Yeah, king's gone across, so maybe looking at this idea. So it is dangerous. How can I deal with it? I think the knight kind of has to come here in any event. I don't think I've got nothing better. The knight here is not really doing anything. So I'm just going to bring the knight back. It kind of blocks this a little bit naturally. There's a potential to jump across, maybe slightly restricting my queen, but I've got bishop up, I've got queen up. So we have got potential ideas. King up and rook behind to pressure the pawn could be useful, but I need to take into account there's a lot of pressure coming. That's what he's played. Is it worth trying to open this side up, or is that just silly? I don't know. Okay. I'm just looking at queen up here to challenge the queen. I think I'm very happy to trade the queen if I can. If we can trade king up and then rook behind, that would be good. Right, queen goes back. So how do we deal with this? Is it possible? See, I might not have anything better, but you can kind of, can you do this? If I can get a pawn here, you can just take. I'm going to push the pawn. It's really just a holding move while I try and figure something out. See, if I go here, you can just take all of the bishops. Again, slightly misplaced there, but the pawn's still a pawn. It might be more of a target here. Yeah, bishop's gone to the natural square now, so I need to leave the knight here. So how do we do this? I'm not sure. Actually, maybe I do push the pawn now. Yeah, I'm just going to push the pawn and try and get the rook behind if I can pressure the pawn here. Bit of a gamble. A little bit of a gamble. Okay, rook across. So I'm going to take. Now is queen up a move? As long as this is covered, I mean that's still going to fall, isn't it, if my queen wanders off? Rook up and rook here could be an idea. Or rook here in order to come behind could be an idea. Here, 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 and that's very good for my opponent, I think. Knight here to go here could be a nice idea to come round the angles. Knight here, we hit the pawn, but the idea is to come here. Yeah, I might have to try and just sack and get rid of this bishop. I don't see how to deal with this, but I need to be really careful now. I mean, there is a chance my opponent just to win a pawn here, but it gets the queen off the board. So maybe I should just leave the knight where it was. My opponent can grab a pawn here, I'm aware of that. Take, take. Knight probably has to come back. Actually, my bishop's in a pin there. I don't think I should have done this, although I have got knight forward threatening a check on the pawn. I think my opponent's not seen this concept, I'm aware of it. I might be blundering here, but there's an immediate check threat and a threat to the pawn. So I'm taking a risk. But maybe after we trade, rook takes, I can king sidestep. But I'm threatening to grab this pawn and this pawn now. Taking a bit of a risk to try and win the game. But he has seen it now and gone for it. So I've got knight check first. And then what do you do? If you go there, I take... Oh, so you have to go here. If I go there, you have to go here or you lose your queen. But then if I check... I can just trade and grab this, or I can sidestep, but take, you have to go there. Check, you're going to have to block. But it's still dangerous, it's very dangerous. Queen check, I can sidestep, but that's all I've got, isn't it? I'm going to grab the pawn and probably just trade the queen, I think. Okay, so has seen it. So we're going to take and sidestep. Oh, hold on, I might have blundered. Oops, if I go here, you've got this. I might have actually blundered. I might have just blundered it. I said I've got to be really careful, and I haven't been really careful. I probably played the worst line I could play here, but I have to shift or rook across wins my bishop. But if I go here, rook across, and I move, then he's crashing through. So I'm going to have to go here. I've just blundered the game away, I think. I've played it the worst way I could have played. Well, it feels like that. Let's come back. You can take here, I'll go here. But if you take here, drop back, I can't defend my bishop. Maybe I can shift it, but... I think I might have messed this one up. Although... I can throw a check in. So that's now covered. I can plant... No, I can't plant that. It does the pawn matter. I've got rook across. Or I can grab a pawn. So rook over. Bishop takes, I just take the rook. If rook takes over, my rook's getting forced off. I'm going to risk it and grab the pawn. I know this can fall. Taking a risk, but I'm covering this check threat and there's nothing to shift my bishop. So I'm going to try and go here and shift the rook. So let's try and shift the rook. Bishop here to keep the king restricted. Again, rook check is still covered. I'm getting low on time now. And I've only got one pawn left. That's a little bit of a problem. Now that's guarded, but how on earth can I shift this? Okay, I've got to step forward there. At least they're on dark squares. Everything's on dark squares. So... let's go here and try and get forward. Create a checkmate threat. So that's a checkmate threat. Rook or bishop can safely block. Okay, does that. Now, is it possible to win the game? I'm not sure it is. Knight in, takes, check. I'm not winning the game, am I? So I'm going to check. I'm going to come back. I have to try and collect some of these pawns. I don't quite see how I manage it. Maybe get the knight across. But this is the one I could really do with all this, I suppose, but not easy to triangulate. Oh, the rook's come forward. So now if I check there, I guess you could block. Knight across is dangerous, but I don't see nothing else. Here, 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 here. But if I get on the wrong diagonal, I'm vulnerable to a check now. Oh boy. Oh, he's come forward. Oh, that's just a blunder. That's unfortunate. He's just blundered the game. One simple mistake at all is I'm a bit fortunate here. Okay, we get a bit lucky with that one.